And I can...
Jet, what's going on?
Lucy, I love you.
We all know that, Jet. Messing around with your cousin, it's all well and good for kids, but it's not a sustainable long-term sexual practice, you know?
Okay, cousin humping. It's a thing, I guess. Howdy, all. I'm Adam, the Renaissance Nerd, and welcome to my review of Fallout Season 1, Episode 1. Yes, just Episode 1, even though Amazon, in their infinite wisdom, decided to batch drop this thing so that we now have to dance around how we're all going to cover this. I've chosen to cover it one episode at a time, if I even continue after this first review. That's up to you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comments what you think and if you want me to keep going when we're all said and done here. All cards on the table. Let's be upfront. If you are a subscriber to this channel, if you have watched my takes on Jonathan Nolan's comments on how he was producing the show, you know I've been very critical. I did not like what I was hearing. It set me on edge. You know this. But I am an objective reviewer. Even though I am put off by commentary, I can sit down and I can watch something and I can give you a right down the middle take. What's my down the middle take right away? This ain't the worst thing I've ever seen. Is it Fallout? We have yet to really know that. It's got some flavor. It's got some taste. It's got a sprinkling here and there. Granted, I am not the biggest Fallout guy. I only played Fallout 4, so I am not the end-all be-all of Fallout knowledge and what should be Fallout or not. But I can still rate whether or not this show is good and whether or not it gets woke. And that's always the big question today. Is this woke? Is it packed with agenda? There are some sprinklings. There are some warning signs that concern me in this first episode. Will they continue forward? We'll find out. I've only seen the one episode so that I can remain pure and clear without being tainted by further episodes and whether or not it goes downhill or continues to stand its ground and be okay. And that's at the moment where we are. Not to say I was thoroughly entertained, but I am curious enough to keep going. Today, Episode 1 was very easily broken down in this presentation, essentially 3 parts, 3 characters, Lucy, Maximus, and the Ghoul, played by Walter Goggins. We will be going through each of their sections, and I'll be letting you know what I think and feel. Either way, let's get started. Fallout Episode 1. Okie dokie, let's go with Lucy. Even though the show doesn't actually start with Lucy, there's a prologue concerning the Ghoul, his origins, and the beginning of the nuclear war, which leads to Fallout. We're going to take that, we're going to put it in his section, so we'll get to that. Lucy McLean, member of Vault 33. Fallout stories begin with Vault dwellers who are forced to go to the surface for whatever reason and embark on an insane adventure, usually to find somebody or something that has been taken from them. Lucy is going to be no different. We begin her story as she's basically petitioning to be a part of an exchange program which will allow her to get married and therefore humped, and therefore to continue the procreation of good old-fashioned America. Fallout takes place in a world where the 1960s kind of just stopped, and even though technology sort of evolved, it stayed kind of in a 60s retro look, even though the show goes all the way, or the timeline, goes all the way to 2077, where nuclear war began and wiped out most of civilization around the world. Lucy is in Vault 33, and as we go through her introduction here, we get a nice little montage of everything she's capable of. And I accept this. I accept this because, one, Fallout has a history of letting you also be male or female protagonists, so I am not immediately put off by a female protagonist. 2, she's attractive. I know. Chick's hot. She's a very pretty girl. Secondly, they're showing us that she has had training. She is fit to be a heroine, I guess. She has physical training in terms of guns, melee weapons, mechanics, hand-to-hand combat. She's capable. And they laid it all out to us in a nice little montage with the overriding fact that she is an upbeat, positive person. Very blunt and very forward in how she speaks, because I guess that's just the way they speak down there. Maybe that's the way she speaks. But either way, we are given a very likable character. I know a woman who's attractive, seemingly competent, not by Mary Sue standards, but by actual years of training and practice, and she has a good attitude. She's not an insufferable girl boss bitch, which means I kind of like Lucy. In fact, she's the thing I like the most about this so far. Maybe because we have the most screen time with her. Maybe I might like the Ghoul once we get more of him. But right now, Lucy is the most enjoyable part of this because I can understand her. And she is not portrayed as super girl boss women's. It's kind of a shock to my system. I was expecting something a little worse, but in fact, I got something palatable and not off-putting. Anyway, Lucy is accepted into the program, which means somebody from Vault 32 is going to come over, and they're going to get married, and they're going to have some smeks, which we found out is going to happen right away as she's putting on her wedding dress and then talking with her best friend, who is clearly very preggers, about how the dress is kind of tight. She says, don't worry. That dress ain't going to be beyond long. It's going to be off and you're going to get humped. Don't worry about it. And then they make the joke. And here's something that I will give the show a little credit for. The humor is right up front and at times a little too much, but still appropriate. The jokes are there. They introduced the idea that cousin play happens around here. You saw it in the intro clip. Apparently, yes. And you can tell by the fact that when we get to the wedding night, yeah, Lucy ain't no virgin. Lucy's been pounded by her big old cousin we're going to see in a couple scenes here. So there's been cousin humping going on, and it's kind of funny even though you go, eh. Either way, the humor is it's appropriate, and it's kind of okay for the theme of Fallout. We get into it more. We arrive in essentially their local cornfield where they grow some crops and they're setting up for the big wedding feast. And we watch everything down there, everybody getting ready, and we get a moment where Lucy's going to go down and she's going to talk to her dad, played by the ever-lovable Kyle MacLachlan, the overseer, the guy who's in charge of everything. Kyle MacLachlan nails it because he's Kyle MacLachlan. He knows how to do this shit. There's a little bit of every kind of character he's ever done in the overseer, her dad, Mr. McLean. I forget his first name. I don't remember his first name. But either way, and what we have here, again, is something that is a little mind-blowing. I know, we get a good dad. We get a good dad. It's a little, as I said before, off-putting that they're putting in something that is actually nice and respectable in here. And earlier in the montage, we saw that she has family dinner. They talk books and novels, even though her nerdy little brother just wants to play on his Pip-Boy all the time. Either who, we get the good dad stuff, and I appreciate that. He's saying, don't worry, it's going to be fine. She's asking questions. Were you nervous when you came over here from Vault 31? And then he said, nah. Yeah, and first, of course, I was. But then as soon as I saw your mother, everything in the past didn't matter. All that mattered was her, and then I had you, and you are my world. I love you. And that's great. I appreciate that. Thank you for giving us a good dad. And he's going to be even cooler dad in a little bit. Everything seems to be going nice and dandy. They're going to go now let in the people from Vault 32. And then you see our transition clip where the cousin humper doesn't want to do it because he's in love with her. Humor, once more, well applicable. We move forward. Here's where things, of course, now will sort of go awry in the story. You haven't had any red flags yet. There are a couple we're going to get into, though. Vault opens, and here come the members of Vault 32. Right away, something's off. I'm sitting there thinking, this don't look right. These people are not all clean-cut, high and tight like the Vault Dwellers of 33. But I'm going to roll along, see where it goes. We get this Whammons who comes out, says we're happy to be here. We get introduced to Lucy's future husband, and here's red flag number one. Red flag number one is, and this is first red flags. As soon as we see him, she looks back to her best friend who goes like this, yummy, wish I'd been that. Basically says, I wish I had been that lucky, and you see her soy boy husband behind her. Just a taste. This has me worried that the demeaning of men is going to happen unless you are a presence like Kyle MacLachlan or Walter Goggins, who has gravitas to a scene and has the experience as an actor to not be a soy boy wuss. I don't like that, but we move on. And you'll understand why I continue not to like this when we get to that point later on. We now begin the marriage. They get married, everybody's happy, big feast. And again, as we scroll over the feast, as you look at the Vault 32 dwellers, you see tattoos. And they all look grungy. They're all stealing food from other people's plate. The warning signs all over the place that these are not 32 dwellers, that these are raiders. And it's going to happen pretty soon. We have a nice little big dance moment where everybody dances. La, 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 la. Let's get to the good stuff. Her husband, whose name I don't remember at the moment, Lucy's husband, says, hey, let's go, take her away. They go back to her room. They get to the room. She's all excited. Look at this. Oh, it's where we're going to live, make all our memories. Oh, no, she turns around. He's got man-ass out. He's ready for party. And she just goes, okie dokie. She's ready to jive. I like it. It's funny. It's interesting. It remains upbeat. And they go to town, and she rides him into next week. Fun and games are over. She wakes up while he gets up, and she tries to talk to him. He doesn't really want to talk. Then he gets up. He wipes his dick on the curtain. I'm laughing now because it's kind of cringe. It's a cringe joke. Yes, it's a meme. It's a joke. I leave and wipe my dick on the curtain after doing your mom. But to have him actually wipe his dick on the curtain, it's a little too much. It's kind of stupid. Because now things are going to go out of control. We hear fighting outside. Lucy tries to hear what's going on. He turns around and she realizes something's going wrong, uses her Pip Boy, and discovers he's got a radioactive signature. And he says to her, all things aside, this is the greatest day of my life. And he tries to kill her, and we get a fight. Here's where now the show gets points again. Lucy gets her ass kicked. After all the stuff we saw that shows that she is capable, this is a dude who is twice her weight and bigger than her, and he throws her around like a rag doll. Good. I appreciate that. It's a realistic fight where she is scrambling and struggling, and he ends up stabbing her. Now, as he's choking the life and trying to finish her off, she gets her hands on a blender and smashes him across the head and basically maims him across the face and throat. And she leaves him for dead and goes to stitch herself up and get into the fight. Once again, I'm going to say, bravo, you did a good job here. You had your protagonist, your girl, not be a Super Women's girl boss, head scissor takedown, punching out of everybody, kicking ass and taking names. She had to struggle. She gets a grievous wound that she barely survives, only survives through a stim pack, and now has to go out with a tranquilizer gun to help in the fight. Now, the fight is a little clownish over the top. Now, it's all got the overlay of basically 60s type of music. That kind of shit. And the Vault Dwellers are getting massacred left and right, many times in goofy ways, many times in gory ways. The violence is very gratuitous. And I appreciate that. Again, another point. Gratuitous violence. They didn't shy away from it. One point, dude shoves a gun in a Vault Dweller's head and shoots through it to kill more people. Other guy is eating cake and has clown cake face smile on him as he's killing people. It's a little ludicrous, but it's kind of like over-the-top shit you would, I guess, expect in Fallout. Therefore, I accept it. Now, Lucy makes her way through it, is fighting her way through it, and when she gets to her best friend, we find her best friend has mourning the death of her wussy husband. So what does the best friend do? After even getting stabbed in the eye with a fork, goes all kamikaze with a gun. Now, pregnant Mama Bear, fighting over her dead husband's body, fine. Just something about that, it's another little red flag for me. I don't trust the show if you're showing me the wimpy dude dead and the pregnant chick with the machine gun mowing people down. Yes, I can accept Mama Bear maternal instincts taking over and she's fighting for her life, but there's just, in today's modern day crap, red flag up. I'm just planning it here, and we'll see about it later. Lucy gets in the fight, tranks a few people, but then husband, who was maimed, is still alive, comes back to try and kill her, and she can't fight back because he is, again, stronger than she is. But what happens? Here comes Dad. Kyle MacLachlan, comes up behind him, beats him with a shovel. That's what you do. Dude tries to kill your little girl, you beat him with a shovel, and then you drown him in a pickle barrel. I appreciate it. Good dad saving his daughter. Whole battle's going on. Little brother is a coward, and he's been cowering and running away, even though he's the one that found out everything was wrong in the vault. Fight is going crazy, and they eventually are going to go and try and close the door between the vaults, only to discover that Girl Boss Whammon's in charge of Vault 32 Raiders has got prisoners now. And right away, Kyle MacLachlan says, I know you, don't I? So there's a history here between he, her, and we're going to find in a second, Lucy. Girl Boss Whammon's, again, now this is red flag number 2. Girl Boss Whammon's in charge of the bad guys. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, that can be off balance. That can be offset by the fact that there was violence visited upon women in this show already. Acceptable. But I still have a problem with powerful girl boss in charge here. Maybe the show will solidify that for me going forward and make me feel not so uneasy about it. But I worry. You understand why I just got through Halo Season 2. She offers a deal. She offers a deal to Kyle MacLachlan. You give yourself up, I let everybody and your little girl go. For some reason, she wants him. He agrees. He shoves Lucy in a door, tells her, you're my world, I love you, survive, essentially. Everybody else runs away. Girl Boss takes Kyle MacLachlan. Explosion happens. Boom. The battle is over. We're going to skip forward to later in the episode when we come back to Lucy. Vault 33 is in cleanup mode. Lucy has patched herself up, and they're having a council meeting about what to do. She wants to go find her dad. Everybody else says no. Her brother says they're not going to agree because they like the power they have now. Okay, power dynamics. Very diverse Vault 33 is now left. You have to notice one thing I have to mark on this. I'm going to mark on this. Red flag number 4, I think. Vault 33 was very diverse. All the Raiders, with the exception of Girl Boss Whammon's, very white and very evil. I'm just saying. I am noting on the things that worry me going forward. Lucy decides to screw what the council has to say. She's going to go save her dad, gets her brother and her cousin Humper to help her get out. After some poor comedy about, young lady, don't you leave, she's out in the world. She's got her backpack, she's got everything, she's ready to go, ready to be this and that. Cousin Humper wanted to help her, but she tranked him because he would be useless, apparently, because he's a giant white man. Of course he'd be useless. Lucy's out in the world. That's it. Lucy's out in the world. She's going to go find her dad, and adventure will ensue. That's it. That's Lucy. Once more, I will say, not a bad character. Very likable. Her personality, her abilities, they have all been properly set up. So whatever happens from this point forward, I'm sort of okay with Lucy. I'm not okay with Maximus.
How are you? Weak?
I don't want to be.
Maximus, the complete opposite of Lucy. Now, is that done so that he can maybe grow and change and become a better man throughout the show? I don't know. But right away, red flag. Lucy, even though built well and structured well and likable, is powerful character and a woman. And here's a dude, black dude. He's a wuss. He's a crybaby. He's essentially a wimp and a wannabe and a tryhard who is not good at what he does as a member, as I guess a cadet in the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood of Steel, for those who may not know, and I barely know, remember, I'm not the best at Fallout lore. Brotherhood of Steel, giant super paramilitary force that has a lot of tech at their disposal. They see themselves as the religious saviors of mankind. They're there to spread, I guess, civilization again. I don't know. They're there to patrol, make things safe for people. But they're also a bunch of assholes. They're dicks. Either way, little Maximus is a member of the Brotherhood of Steel. We come upon him as he's getting beat up by some of his fellow cadets. I don't remember the actual name. He's not a squire yet. He's a cadet. He's whatever comes before a squire. Then they beat the crap out of him, and he takes it. He tries to fight back, and it's a diverse beatdown, so it's not as though it's a bunch of white dudes beating up the black guy. It's a diverse beatdown. he gets left there. And here's where now we have a problem. I already said there's a problem where he is kind of a lesser character already because he's weaker than our female protagonist as the dude. My immersion, my escapism was instantly broken in Maximus' section for this reason right now. His friend comes to help him out and help him up. And as soon as before they were even on camera, I could hear in the voice, that's not the voice of a dude. Now, of course, I'm sure there are females in the Brotherhood of Steel. We even see them in a couple of shots where you see a fat chick with big tits clear through a wife beater, and that's obviously a woman. But here we go. God. This is why I don't trust this show. I don't care if you've already seen it all the way through. You say it's good. I do not trust it at this point because of this moment. Here comes a they-them. A they-them with a badass teenage mustache that a 12-year-old basically grows when puberty starts to hit. And they're talking like they're a dude. They're behaving like they're a dude. That chick is 90 pounds wet. And I'm supposed to believe they're cutting it as a cadet in the Brotherhood of Steel. Sorry, you've just lost me in Maximus' section here. Maximus is now shown to be basically not competent. He doesn't know what's going on in class. He's a daydreamer. He's sitting there. He gets slapped around, beat around. He's not respected by his teachers. He's not respected by his peers. Only one that likes him is the they-them. And I say they-them because when you saw it too, every time they're referred to in this section, every time this chick is mentioned, they either say their name, which I don't remember, or they say them or they. They never say he or she. They use they-them. Agenda has been dropped into this show, and I now doubt it going forward. I don't care if you've given it a high score, if you've seen the whole thing, if you binged it in the past 12, 15, 16 hours. Right now, at episode 1, I have not seen anything else. I have doubts because of this. If you're shoving a they-them in there, I don't trust you. You are pushing an agenda that is destroying entertainment and society in general. Well, after they're done with class, after Maximus gets humiliated in class, they hear a commotion going on outside, and they exit, and here comes the not Peregrine. Remember in Fallout 4, the Peregrine, the giant airship? Well, this isn't it. This is a different one because we're on the West Coast. We're not on the East Coast. So that's they don't give the ship a name, but it lands. We see a bunch of powered armors, a bunch of knights coming forward, and everybody's all jacked up. Something's going to happen. They're getting some sort of report. We're now getting a story moving forward. Either way, Maximus is on latrine duty until they-them comes and gets him away from it, though they are supposed to be helping him with it. They go to look the powered armors on their racks, and as they're doing that, here comes a couple of, I don't know what to call them, instructors. They think they're in trouble, but they aren't. While Maximus is in the dorm, while some other dude's jerking off. They show a dude jerking off in bed. Funny, but really, did we really need to see the hand going up and down inside the blanket? Did we need that? Not really. I don't need to see the dude jerking off. Maximus is basically feeling sorry for himself that he's on latrine duty and his friend was taken away. And then he finds out the they-them friend has been chosen to be a squire. That's right. They-them, 90 pounds wet, clearly smaller and weaker physically than Maximus, has been chosen over all the other big dudes there to be a squire on their way to being a knight. My immersion is broken. I do not believe this. With this they-them and their badass teenage mustache that they can barely grow in. I have more of the mustache in 24 hours than they do. And that clearly, they've been working on that one for weeks. Maximus throws a hissy fit when he goes back on latrine duty that night, and we wonder what's going to happen next. Well, next morning, as everybody's getting up in their bunks, they-them puts on their boots. And what happens? Oh, she screams in pain because somebody put razor blades in the boots and her foot is mangled. Maximus is carted off because people say he did it. Here's the question. Did he do it? He says he didn't. We're kind of made to believe he didn't. But after his hissy fit, you kind of wonder if he did. I wonder if he did do it. And if not, one of the other jerks did it. We get this whole interrogation scene between him. There's a knight behind him. I believe it's Knight Titus, the knight he's going to be squired to in a minute, and some clergymen. Clergyman basically gives him his whole thing about how, are you weak? Are you this? Are you that? Did you do it? Did you do this? You don't hurt other members of the Brotherhood of Steel because violence is not an acceptable option. We use violence to bring order, not to visit upon things. It should not be something celebrated. He gets chastised for being weak. He has a little crying soy boy moment and then basically says, I will do anything for the Brotherhood. I will die if I need to. Well, guess what? That gets you promoted to squire in place of your they-them friend who has their foot butchered and will likely never be a squire. They have a little conversation with each other, and we get another good shot of the they-them and their badass teenage mustache that clearly took 3 weeks to grow. And what happens? They say, I'm okay. I can still be of service, and that you go out there and you be strong. And I still wonder, did he actually do it? Because she asks him, they asked me if you did it, and I said, nah, you couldn't do it because you wouldn't hurt a fly. The backhanded response, the backhanded compliment from his they-them best friend calls him a pussy. Well, she would know she has a pussy because that's a woman. It's not a man. That's a woman. But Maximus says they asked me that too, and you kind of wonder as well, did he actually do it? I wonder, did he do it? I wonder. Because this guy, he seems like the dude that would kind of do it. Seems like a wuss that would do it. I just think it. I think it. We now discovered that there's a mission. Some dude has escaped from someplace called the Enclave with an important piece of artifact technology that could either help the Brotherhood save the world or destroy the world. Maximus gets his branding ceremony. He is given over to Knight Titus, and they're going on their way to hunt this dude down. And also there's Dogmeat, and we know Dogmeat's going to be a chick, apparently. Dogmeat's going to be a bitch. I can say that because female dogs are bitches. When in fact, Dogmeat canonically has always been male. Whatever. We'll talk about that when I get to it, I guess. And Maximus goes off into the world with Knight Titus, very excited to do shit. There you go. That's Maximus. Maximus sucks. You can tell already I don't like Maximus. I have a feeling he's only going to get worse. All right, now it's time for the ghoul, Walter Goggins.
Whenever somebody says they're doing one last job, that usually means their heart's not in it. Probably never was. But for me, well, I do this shit for the love of the game.
The Ghoul, played by Walter Goggins. We jump now back to the beginning of the show, the actual start, where we are right at the beginning of the nuclear holocaust that turns Fallout World into what it is. We are Dale Cooper, I think he was called. He was clearly some sort of star on Hard Times. He's doing basically cowboy tricks at a birthday party for a kid. He got a couple of asshole dads talking about it, talking shit. The whole point of this section here is you see that this dude had something. He had a little girl he was doing his best to take care of. He's a star who's down on his luck, and everybody treats him like a piece of shit. Meanwhile, in the beginning, we're getting the idea that the world is about to go to hell. The president of the United States is missing. People don't want to talk about the fact that we're right here at nuclear war. Everybody's ignoring it. And we get a moment of understanding of the ghoul's character as he was in the beginning here. Little girl's outside saying, Daddy, what are they talking about in the news? What are this and that? And he says, well, it's adult stuff, but you have to understand this. If there's an explosion, when I was in the Marines, we had a saying. And we should ask him, why won't you do the thumbs up thing? Because they asked him to do the thumbs up thing. He says, no, I don't want to do that. It's not right. He says, the reason I won't do it is because when I was a Marine, you were told if you put your thumb up and you can cover the smoke and it kind of only partially covers it, you just got to run for your life. But if it completely can't cover anything at all, you might as well not run at all. And she's trying to understand that, and then she asks for a piece of cake and goes inside and get it. And then she turns around, and she's going like this, and then there's smoke, and then she see her freeze. And he comes back outside, and she says, Daddy, is it my thumb or your thumb? He turns around, and then there's complete abject horror as they're watching a mushroom cloud come to life. Because he says, just smoke, but no, then boom, there it is. Nuclear Armageddon has begun. The wars, everything, it's there. Boom. This is stuff you haven't actually, I believe, seen in Fallout games, so it makes it a little more interesting. You're seeing the fall of mankind, the fall of 2077. He grabs his little girl, tries to get the hell out of there. Everybody breaks into chaos because then boom, bang, pow. you get a glimpse, and I'll give the show credit again here. You get a glimpse of what humanity is going to become. The two asshole dads who had been basically mocking him for being a fallen star and doing birthday parties for kids. One of them is trying to put his family into the fallout shelter there, and the other dude tries to get in there, and the dude turns around and knocks him the F out. And that's kind of a precursor. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a killer-be-killed society going forward. Walter Goggins and his little girl try and ride off on the horse to escape it, but as they leave the house property, there's nowhere to go. Armageddon, you see, that's it. Boom, it's done. Then it's going to be 219 years later. That's where we learn that that's how far ahead in the Fallout timeline we are. What happens? We are now in some sort of, I guess, on the border of what was once California and Mexico. There you can hear there's a Mexican party going on in there, and there's a dude on guard duty. He gets aced, and we now discover that Bubba from Forrest Gump and a couple of goons have decided to break into this. I guess I don't know what to call this. Don something, I don't know. They break into his thing to get the ghoul out from a casket because the ghoul's being held prisoner because I guess he got caught and pissed off Don what's his name. They get him out. While Bubba Gump is going on about how my grandpappy worked with this guy, he says he's legit. And they're worried that he's going to be feral and he's not going to be a ghoul in his right mind. Because ghouls are creatures, people, that are turned into creatures. They got enough radioactive dosage that they are mutated, but they didn't become mutants or super mutants. They're just kind of somewhere between human and undead. It's a thing. And you're either a ghoul that has their mind or you're a feral. And apparently with a chicken, that'll let you know if they're feral or not. Well, they dig the ghoul up. And there's a mistake. There's a mistake they missed in the editing room. One of Bubba Gump's dudes says, "Oh, we're digging up a goddamn mutant." And then the other guy says, then they quickly refer to him as a ghoul seconds later. No, he's not a mutant. He's a ghoul. Very simple distinction. If they even are going to show mutants in the show. I don't know if we're going to see mutants or not. They dig him up. It's a very short scene where they're trying to convince him to join them on one last big bounty hunt for the dude we saw in the previous section, the sketch of the dude with the glasses who has dog meat with him. And they want the ghoul's help. And the ghoul says, listen, first of all, you don't know who I am. Don't tell me. Don't talk to me like you know me. You don't know my story. And then he gives a speech you sort of saw in the transition clip. If you're trying to do this as one last haul, you're not really in it. I don't trust you. I'm not going to work with you. So no, he ganks them. Ganks all three of them in very cool, badass fashion. Walter Goggins, very good at this kind of stuff on television. So kills them all. And it says, I do this for the love of the game. I do it for the kicks. I do it for the lulz. He's going to go off and hunt the thing. And we know he's going to end up meeting Lucy. I've seen the trailers and stuff like that. And there you go. Episode over. That's it. Fallout Season 1, Episode 1. As I said when we started this is not the worst thing I've ever seen. In fact, it's somewhat okay. But you heard my warning flags. They're there. There's a little bit of intersectional feminism here and there. We can see the pussification of men being set up. There's a they, them. There is agenda in this episode. And people who might want to ignore it, take this seriously. Take this seriously. We're going to see if people who have rated this thing highly, who've seen all 8 episodes, if they were ignoring this stuff just because they want to watch Fallout, or if there is legitimate criticism I may find. At the moment, I'm on the road to sort of being proved wrong with my initial takes leading up to this series. I still don't trust it, though. You got to prove to me that Lucy, as a likable character, will maintain her likability. The ghoul, we got to see, will he continue to be a badass? Maximus, is he going to find his balls that the they-them pretends they had? I don't know. But right now, I like Lucy. I like the ghoul. I haven't really talked about it because I don't think it's necessary because I'm not a whiny fake fan of anything. There is Fallout nostalgia bait all over this things. Little Pip dude, the little bobblehead, the little Pip-Boy icon, Nuka-Cola. Nuka-Cola's there, the powered armors, dog meat, obviously. There's little things all over the place here that says, hey, look, Fallout, yay! But that won't matter if they can't stick the landing with a story. You can put a coat of paint over anything, but it will still be a piece of shit underneath if it is a piece of shit. But we'll find out. Will I do episode 2? Maybe. Maybe I'll do it on my own because we have to see if it falls through, but also kind of depends on the reaction. This is a batch drop. I'm not exactly under the gun on a weekly basis to do this and provide it in a timely fashion. You guys will determine this partially for me. Leave comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Hit the like button. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel if you like what I do. Check out this. Check out my gaming channel, Renaissance Nerd Arcade. Link in the description below where I do all my gaming now. And maybe I'll do some Fallout again in the future. Who knows? I've still got it. I can download it anytime I want. I've also my save data, so I'd have to start all over again. But that might be fun. It might be fun. We'll see. Either way, thank you all for joining me for this review. I will see you next time. Until then, take it easy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Check out my gaming channel at Renaissance Nerd Arcade and follow me on X Twitter under @TheRedNerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.